Good evening, everyone. Today, July 2025, we assemble to report on our progress,
Yes.
to see how the Nerd Council of Doom is faring in our goal of world domination. Shall we start alphabetically?
Oh,
Brother Delver, what have you been up to?
Well, my ongoing plan to convince people that we are in the grips of a cyberpunk dystopia, that corporate oligarchy rules the day, and that life has gotten measurably worse since around 2012, 2013. I've actually had to kind of set that aside, because when I showed up in Times Square in my giant mecha suit and announced this, people just sort of stared at me and said, "So?" So stalled, I would say, stalled.
If I can make a suggestion,
Yes.
perhaps it is the lack of futuristic clothing and hairstyles. Perhaps if you could work on popularizing those, people would be able to believe more.
I want the clear tie from Back to the Future that Doc Brown shows up in at the end of that movie.
I'll talk to our wardrobe and costuming department about that.
And Brother Minister, what have you to say?
Well, I've heard a disturbing report. As a nerd, I've heard a disturbing report that in the United Kingdom, particularly, more and more young people are going to church, meaning that going to church is being seen as cool. And as a nerd, I need to stop this. So I'm going to be delivering more sermons about the danger of dancing and the evils of the internet. Try to thwart this. And I'm going to distribute pocket protectors to all parishioners.
Perhaps a homily about the devil worshipping nature of tabletop role playing games.
Oh, another one? I mean, it's been dozens of them. Now, I will say on your apocalyptic sort of cyberpunk future, I saw a video clip yesterday of a big drone outfit, 4 or 5 quadcopters all lashed together in this thing that hoists an LED billboard. And I had visions of Blade Runner, this billboard flying around, flashing advertisements. All it needed was the smiling Japanese woman, and the flashing graphics would complete the picture.
I like that. Yang, anything we can do to cast major urban centers in a pall of smog and darkness that makes it look like it's about 10 o'clock at night, even at high noon?
Well, I believe Bill Gates is already working on modifying the atmosphere to make everything darker. So I don't know that we really need to add to the budget for that. I think outside forces will. However, I do think that we can take some money from the fall homecoming company party, and we can put that money towards your giant Japanese woman who will appear on screens.
Perfect.
And I myself have come up with an ingenious plan. First, on an individual basis, we will invite world leaders and their head of HR to Coldplay concerts. If they do not agree to bow to our demands, we will have Chris Martin single them out on the Jumbotron, thereby bringing the downfall of their administrations and their marriages.
I love it.
The takes on that meme that I've seen are hilarious. Swapping in various people in both positions. I saw one from the American Office. It was Dwight holding the receptionist. I don't know. I watched the British Office. I don't know the American one, but I do know the character Dwight. He's holding the receptionist, and she has the horrified look on her face, as one would.
Absolutely. And just an announcement to any members trying to sneak in the back, please sign in with the Nerd Council of Doom by giving this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Our numbers are growing, but they're never growing enough.
Yes, indeed. Please join us over here at the Nerd Council of Doom. Yes, get in line for early compliance before you have no choice.
So, Padre, I believe you have a special, what some people, I'm not familiar with this term, but I believe it's uplifting story to share with us today.
I don't know how uplifting it is, judging by the content, but it's hello there, Mark Dickey. It would be uplifting to all those who are fans. And the irony of me presenting this is I've never actually seen the show, but I did see this pass by on my Nerd Council radar. That the season 5 trailer for Stranger Things has dropped, and it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense stuff. It looks like the final showdown is coming. And as Screen Rant is talking about, it's setting up a major death with 5 potential candidates. So they all have. This trailer is just the modern trailer, right? It's just a mishmash of images. It doesn't communicate too much. There's some confusion about where things are coming from. Apparently, of the episodes of the 5th season, apparently it draws almost all of its material from the first. I've been told, obviously nobody's seen these episodes, but that's what the scuttlebutt is. But there's various points where different characters have these emotional moments, which could be them going off to sacrifice themselves to, save the world, kind of thing. So that is fun. If you haven't seen the trailer, after you're done here, throw a Stranger Things season 5 trailer in the search and find it. But yeah, there's 5 candidates for potential deaths in this season, and they're all looking appropriately 80s. I love that. I think at least half of the girls at my high school had that hairstyle. Although they had the little poof right above their head. So all the original teams are in huge danger. Well, of course, they have been from the get-go. Loving that. Absolutely loving that. But so that is in terms of things that are stranger. That is there's a big final showdown happening with Vecna, with himself. And some very
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be a little disappointed if we get there and like the last scene isn't them sitting down to play D&D one more time. I just, you know what? That's in my wheelhouse. And I had actually not seen the show when it dropped, and everybody said, "Oh, have you seen Stranger?" I'm like, I don't want to watch some 7-episode streaming thing. And people are like, no, Bill, you got to watch Stranger. And so I binged it. Like my buddy invited me over. He's like, "Hey, we'll watch the first 3 episodes, and that'll take us from like 8 o'clock in the evening to 11 o'clock. And we we did like all 7 or 8 the first season, and I came home at 5 in the morning. It was just like, I texted my wife. I'm like, "Look, I'm locked in for this. I'll be home in the morning." So I would really like to see them kind of come full circle. I know the show's more than just about people playing D&D, but I mean, that's what took us there. That's the trope that they've held up season after season.
Now, how disappointed would you be if the last scene of the last show was pull out and something that they filmed years ago when the kids were young, and the entire thing has been the game.
Dun, dun,
I would
Sort of
Okay.
Seinfeld-esque, you know.
I would feel like it was a weak ending. I mean, viscerally, my emotional reactions, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
But I think from a writing and storytelling point, it would cheapen everything. It would cheapen everything.
All the stakes just plummet, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, we as an audience, look, I'm not one of those people that hates the third season of the show. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed every one. I mean, for me, it's like the Led Zeppelin album comparison thing. It's like I like Houses of the Holy way more than I like Physical Graffiti, but that's the difference between a 9.0 and a 9.9. You know, it's not like, well, I think Houses of the Holy is a 10 and Physical Graffiti Physical Graffiti is a 10 and Houses of the Holy is like a 4. It is, they are both wonderful. So I will say that of the seasons, I like the third season the least, but I still love it. And the reason I'm mentioning the third season particularly is first of all, we've already had one consequence-free take all the stakes out of it. And that was when Hopper got teleported to Siberia instead of what happened. Sorry if you guys have been waiting to watch Stranger Things. I'm not gonna spoilerize a now 6-year-old episode of the show, but when here's another spoiler for season 3, when the Russian died, the Russian that really wanted to help them died, that coming back and saying it was all a dream, it would just take all the emotional punch out of it.
It would be cute. Is what it would be. It would be cute. Oh, because it's the D&D, so it's the D&D, you know.
Right.
But that's
right.
Cute isn't really where they go with this show.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like season 3 better than 2. So I guess that's a controversial take now. I didn't
It's
realize.
a life of Brian, Holy Grail kind of thing, you know.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're talking in terms of degree. To go back to the Zeppelin comparison, you know, you're talking about an entire series of albums. The best of them is a 10. The least of them is like an 8.9. So let's not make mints over, it's objectively worse. Well, I mean,
right.
You know,
but TV shows are like children. You do have one that you like the least.
Yeah. I mean,
so I guess my only question is, it's been so long since the original season came out. It's been this would be year 10 trying to get a 5-season get a 5-season show. So I'm kind of curious, how many people do you think are watching now because they're still invested in the story and they're still really excited, versus how many people are going to watch it for the nostalgia of, not the nostalgia of the 80s, just the nostalgia of 2015.
10 years ago, yeah. Well, that's it. Like, you know, the streaming format it's so different from when we were kids. And there was a season, you know, the shows would kick off in the fall, they'd run through the winter, and then in summer there'd be reruns. And now with streaming, people don't watch one week, you know, week by week. It's this whole, you know, they binge the thing when it comes out, and then they wait till the next one comes out. And there's less of a sense of a schedule because it's not live. It's not live, but it's not broadcast at that time. It's not on the air. It's whenever people download it. So it's a completely different ecology. So yeah, they're not saying, well, it's a new year, we have to come out with a new season of Stranger Things. you have to. It's scheduled in the little, the TV guide. It's got a little bar. At 7:00 it's going to be on. It's not that anymore. So
it's got a little white star next to it, so you'll know it's important.
You got to watch it. Yeah. But no, it's a totally different kind of world. So these things don't happen on schedule. He says, as a YouTuber who's been a little slack on releasing content lately.
Watch out for that. We might have chalked off some time about what's going on with YouTube right now, but I don't know if I want to get that depressed.
Good news, happy news to start.
Good news, happy news.
I am looking forward to season 5. I definitely do want to see how they resolve it. For at least the last 10 years, there's been a real problem in Hollywood with how to finish things off. I don't know. Maybe we'll have them traveling all over the world to fight some dragons or something. But I am cautiously optimistic that they are going to stick this landing, at least well enough.
Yeah.
Hope so.
The Duffer brothers, the actors, everybody else. Hey, Doc Flamingo. They've carried off an admirable job so far for all previous 4 seasons. So I think we can safely say that at the very worst this will be good. Now you had mentioned Padre about nostalgia for the earlier episodes. I mean, I think when you're watching something, particularly when it's coming to a head and it's something you've really enjoyed, I think that's part and parcel of taking a thing in is nostalgia. I mean, you watch when you watch Return of the Jedi, you remember how good Star Wars was. You think about watching the whole series, you
think about that time in your life.
Exactly.
Playing with the figures.
I'm playing an AD&D campaign right now, my Monday night slot. And I mean, this thing's been going for 11 years now. It may be another few years before it wraps up, but I mean, when it does, there's going to be that same sense of looking back on everything that we've created and everything that we've participated in as friends. So I think the answer, Padre, is yes, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it is. If you kind of view the entirety of enjoying a fandom like that as all the sections of an Apollo rocket, something has to be the command module, something has to be the data connection ring, something is the engines. It is an entire vehicle that is assembled and flies together, not just, one piece. But my analogies are starting to swerve drunkenly back and forth across the highway, so we can move on to
can I be the O-ring?
Yeah, just stay inside and stay warm. Anyway,
well, gentlemen, since we are trying out this happy and uplifting thing, perhaps it is time for us to also take a quick detour over into films, things that are in actual theaters, like they were at our great-grandfather's times.
The old talkies.
Oh, nope, sorry, not that one. Oh, wait. No, hang on. That is not the one.
He's new, folks.
Yeah, what the heck is going on?
I didn't do that. I haven't added anything to the screen yet, but I think you were getting ready. You were going to talk about Man of Steel, yeah?
There we go. Not Man of Steel. Superman.
Well,
Man
the
of
man,
Steel
the
was-
Man of Steel, the
Man
Man
of-
of Steel.
Man of Steel is the 2013 Superman movie starring Henry Cavill and Henry Cavill, as directed by Zack Snyder, which the Snyder Bros are still butthurt over 12 years later. This, on the other hand, well, except we can't see any Superman here. All right. I'm sorry, chat. There we go.
There we
Let's
are.
get a little bit of Superman in there. Oh, that's much better. So this Superman movie was surprisingly good. I was quite pessimistic, but there were some nice things about it. First of all, it is a combination sort of the Golden Age, 1938 Superman, and the Silver Age. So there is a little bit of silliness about it, but unlike the Snyderverse movie where Superman snaps people's necks, here Superman tries to save everyone. Now, of course, he punches the crap out of everyone and everything that needs to be punched. Generally, the violence is very cartoony, sometimes a little too cartoony, but overall acceptable. There is nothing untoward in the sense of with Lois Lane. It is a very respectable relationship. They've just started dating, and he makes her dinner in her apartment, and nothing else happens. So it's something that you could take kids to. The story, of course, includes Lex Luthor and his designs on taking over the world, starting by taking over a country, which is directly from the pages of Superman issue 1. And it is overall a fun trip. Superman is fun. Crypto is not as annoying as I thought he'd be. It does set up a wider DCEU. You have Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Hawk Girl shows up. Mr. Terrific. And Supergirl, who apparently is getting a movie next year. They are sort of the main
Hold on to your butt.
Yeah, they're already leaning into Supergirl will be a drunk slut.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah. Now
there have been comic series where Supergirl has been a drunk slut. She's been a crappy teenager. I don't know that we need that. But we will have to see what happened.
I always felt with Superman that the part of the vibe was the sort of gee golly wholesomeness, and you left the dark stuff to Batman. You left the dark stuff to the darker characters, and that you could have this. Can we just not have one superhero who's just it's like the Marvel's version would be Spider-Man. He was always pretty upbeat, things were always pretty cool. Other Marvel characters would be deep and angsty and everything, but Spider-Man was always jolly, and Superman had that sort of sense of invulnerability, right? That he couldn't be touched by that kind of stuff. And man, everything got so angsty.
I know the darkest I ever wanted to see Superman portrayed was when he was crying over Lois's dead body in 1978 Superman.
Yep.
Yes.
Like that ugly, angry cry. And he's then like, no, I am actually going to break the laws of physics and of ethically right and wrong and reverse time to save. I am going to do exactly that. You guys know the scene.
To save one life, yes.
To save one life. So I definitely think that's as dark as I ever wanted Superman to be, and they played it off excellently. Richard Donner did back in '78. So the whole, what was that thing with Cavill and shit? I forget. No, he was Ben. What's his name? Fighting him on the on top of the building.
The Superman, Batman, Superman.
Yeah. Why did you say her name? Come on,
Martha. Yeah. So tonally, this one is much more like the original. Well, I shouldn't say original, but the 70s Superman starring Christopher Reeves. So tonally, it's great. I'll get into the two things that I didn't like, which might be something you did like there, Padre. But I would say that Superman is good, especially in the sense that he is always trying to save people and to avoid hurting people, as opposed to a lot of the superhero movies we've had, which don't mind the collateral damage. There's one part, it's in the previews, but there is a kaiju that is attacking Metropolis, and Superman, he could kill it. It's very clear if he wanted to, but he's trying not to, and he's doing things like he's trying to keep it from knocking into big buildings, so he's like flying, trying to push it there.
Kaiju-proof the city.
Yeah,
exactly. When you have a baby, you got to baby-proof your house. Got to kaiju-proof the city. Big padded corners on the buildings.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The Justice Gang, as some of the other heroes are calling themselves. And they did have the Hall of Justice, which was very cool from the Super Friends show.
Nice.
They were not as concerned about keeping it alive.
I imagine Guy Gardner's Green Lantern was probably, I don't care.
Yes.
Just hitting the comments for a second, Jorge. I think everyone tries to forget Metamorph. But just putting that out there, and hello, great old ones.
So yeah, it overall was very good. Now, there's two things that I do not like about modern Superman, and they unfortunately show up in this. So in this, Ma and Pa Kent are still alive.
Yeah.
But they made them like the fattest, most unattractive hicks you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is, first of all, there are very few fat farmers, if you actually know farmers, because they're working all day. I mean, it might have a little bit of pot belly, but he's not going to be fat.
I had a farmer in my parish. Had a farmer who was about, luckily he was made out of pipe cleaners, except just wiry strong, just wiry strong.
So if they're a little bent over, it's probably because of tractor back. It has nothing to do with sloth.
No.
I mean,
exactly. And like, I'm not going to say that farmers are like the height of fashion, but it was like, did you dress them as ugly as you possibly could on purpose? Or did you just, tell people, do your best farmer impression? So it was, that was weird. Also, they talked like, I don't know, like they had the IQ of Forrest Gump a lot of times. And the other thing I don't like is I don't like they call Superman the Boy Scout. That's wrong. Superman is just stone cold. If you go back and you read the original 1930s run of Superman, he only acts like a goofball in front of Lois. If he's confronted by thugs, they'll have their guns. Yeah, we'll get you, buddy. And Clark would be like, yeah, go for it. As he proceeds to beat the crap out of them and tie their guns up into knots. But it's only like if Lois is there that he'll jump in the bushes and stuff like that.
Yeah. It was the same way with Reeves Superman in 78. He was going to do something bad to Lex Luthor before Lex showed him the kryptonite. Yep. I mean, it is very, very apparent that he's not Lex is in trouble and he knows it. So
yeah. And in this movie, they played him off as too naive. He told everyone in the Justice Gang his Clark Kent identity. And so there's one point where Lois is talking to them, and he's like, "Oh my God, he told you guys to." So they make him like more than nice. They make him naive, and I think that it does not play well for Superman, because a naive man is a weak man. Clark Kent, if you read the original ones, he was smart. He's a whip smart investigative reporter. But he's not played off that way. He's just played off as naive. There's they show it in the previews as well, so no spoilers, but
No.
like Lois is interviewing him, and like he can't read the room, and he can't understand why people might be afraid of him or mistrust him. And and it actually brings up the third thing that I really hate about modern Superman, which is that everybody knows he's an alien for some reason. How do you know he's an alien? He doesn't have antenna on his head. He doesn't
Right.
look any different than anyone else. So unless he's going out and telling everyone that he's an alien, who would know that?
Yeah. Why do people know that? Well, and to let people know that, of course, opens him up to his one great weakness, because then if you know that he comes from Krypton, I mean, frankly, with Earth technology, even now, you wouldn't be able to do what Lex Luthor did in the '79 movie.
Yeah,
Like,
send a space
hunt up-
probe and
To send a space probe, find a chunk of a specific planet that was blown
Yeah.
up. Like, it's ridiculous. But given that we're in a comic book, once you know that he's from this alien world within, and you can piece together that maybe a part of that world would bring him down to our level of strength, you have that tool. So why you'd let people know is odd.
And it doesn't bother me if Lex figured it out, because he's supposed to be super smart. But like the average person on the street. I did say it was a family-friendly movie. I do have to admit, you will have to explain to your kids what a harem is, which was another like, ew, what's going on there?
Yeah.
But it seemed unnecessary to me. But they went with it, I guess.
So much is. Speaking of Lex Luthor, though, I found that Nicholas Hoult, however you say his name, very good take on it. I mean, utterly different, obviously, from Gene Hackman. Very different from the nervous energy of what's his name, Eisenberg. Did he play Eisenberg?
Yes.
Yeah. Very different energy. The cool, absolutely detached, and that brilliance that Luthor's supposed to have. That, God bless Gene Hackman's take on him. It was hard to believe that the character talking was accomplishing the things that he did, unless it was an act or him just being goofy. But this one, you really, the detachment, the utter unconcern for anything that's happening. He just doesn't give two figs, right? And it's got this almost robotic, but beautifully done, I think.
It's great, because one of the best features of any superhero comic is when you sort of have like a yin and a yang, when the main hero and the main villain are sort of polar opposites of each other, and that's what you get here, where you have Superman who's maybe overly concerned about saving everyone and being concerned that there's peace, whereas Lex he's like without a conscience.
And that could be part of the point of bringing that more vulnerable version of Superman out, though, right? To make a and to lessen the sort of indifference to what's happening, to make him more compassionate, right? Because he acts to save people. He's always acting to save people. And this just gives him the sort of emotional accompaniment to that. Like, he's saving people not because it's the right thing to do, but because he actually genuinely wants to save people. Like, he's concerned for them, he's worried about them, and he wants to help.
Yes, and there is one finer point that somehow James Gunn got, which almost nobody who writes Superman for like the last 50 years has gotten, is the way that Superman acts is based on his upbringing in a Midwestern farm. And one of it is the things is like a sense of obligation You know, like your neighbor's fence is broken, you're going to fix it if you see it, if you can. You know, if your neighbor can't shovel their driveway in the winter, you're going to shovel it for them. And this is like how Clark is treating the world, like on a larger scale. There's to start off, there's potentially a war in a Latin American country, and he stops it because he can stop it. Like he's like, no, I can prevent all these deaths. And then, you know, there's Lois gets on like the morality of like, well, is it moral for you to, you know, stop it and this and that? But he has that
U.S. foreign policy. U.S. foreign policy.
Well, Lex is working for the U.S. government, so
well, Bronze Age caveman.
Hey, Bronze Age, good to see you.
Yeah, it is. There is a. It's a nice touch. It's a nice subtlety.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a little bit of a goofier movie. Although I will say that you know, all the other characters were written well. So hopefully they will get the tone of the DCEU right without going too far on the goofiness, which is sort of one problem I have with the Marvel universe now after Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's just joke. And it fit Guardians of the Galaxy that worked.
Yes.
Because of all the Marvel properties, that might be the weirdest. Or at least the sort of goofiest. It's the most prone to that. It's just a strange, it's not as straightforward as a Spider-Man or Iron Man or one, you know. So, but it gets, because it worked there, well, then that's what we do. We'll do the jokes all the time. And it starts to get tiresome after a while.
I agree.
Well, one thing I can say about post 78 Superman is as badly paced, and it was badly paced as Superman Returns was. Kevin Spacey channeled Gene Hackman perfectly. Yeah, because that's what he would. It was the Lex Luthor from 1978. It was supposed to be the Lex Luthor from 1978, and Spacey did a great job. Like I could have absolutely seen it if they could have gotten Hackman in that role, or if they had filmed that instead of that the third Superman movie. You know, if they had filmed it all back then, I just thought it was pitch perfect. I've heard say, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard say that the latest Superman movie, they're obviously leaning really hard into, you know, if you scramble up the letters and squint at it in the dark, Lex Luthor spells Jeff Bezos. And I'm just like, I don't care. You know, I get it. I get it. Bald man bad. Okay, I get it. Not our bald man. He'll be in control of the world with us soon enough. But you know,
I'm still pretty bad.
Fair enough.
He's drinking out of a black coffee cup. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
With my firm grip on the world.
But that's all I have to say. It sounds like a perfectly wonderful film, and I'm looking forward to it. Thor Ragnarok. That's an interesting thing that you bring up there,
yes.
Joe Kaufman. Interesting that you bring Thor. First of all, I want to go on record as saying I like Thor Ragnarok. I'm not just saying that because it has an absolutely excellent scene where they let Immigrant Song play out all the way, and a bunch of those scenes are stuff that I'd like to have airbrushed on the side of a van. But rather it's because of the dictator, or the dictator. Did I make that mistake on purpose or not? The director. But are we done talking about Man of Steel? If we're not,
I think we are. I think we are.
Okay. Well, let me let me do this thing. I gotta exit full screen.
I have one that let's see, we could use this.
Well, I wanted
No, he's got a
there's
Thor.
one other thing I wanted to
Oh.
share up here, Yang.
All right.
That I just did.
He's got a Thor point.
Yes, this pleased me to absolutely no end. I will never hide my love of Akira. I think it is one of the best films. It is in my top 10 list of movies. And if you don't know what it is an epic, and I mean that in the classical sense, saga about a group of Japanese teenagers in a post-apocalypse Tokyo. Now, post-apocalypse may make you think, oh, okay, it's like Mad Max, it's like the Road Warrior. No, the world has rebuilt after the apocalypse. It is truly post-apocalypse. And in this setting, this group of disaffected Yang, tell me if I say this wrong. Bosozoku? Did I say that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, yes, they are a motorcycle gang, the Capsule Gang. And one night when they're engaging in a battle on the freeway with another gang called the Clowns, one of the younger members of the gang, a Tetsuo Shima, collides with an escaped psychic. And this individual has tremendous psychic powers. The result of the direct contact, which leaves the psychic unharmed, and Tetsuo I just said his name. Tetsuo smashes his bike and is badly injured. Tetsuo starts immediately developing runaway psychic abilities of his own. He is kidnapped by the government and put in a facility only because he's a bit of a sociopath, because he's kind of the runt of the litter and was maltreated by the other gang members. His psychic powers very quickly begin to escape his control and could potentially doom the world again. And Akira revolves around Tetsuo, his best friend Kaneda, who is pictured here, and other friends who are trying to survive in this nightmare scenario and figure out what to do to help or to destroy Tetsuo and stop the apocalyptic second coming of the being known as Akira. Now, if all that sounds intriguing to you, you should absolutely watch the movie on streaming services or buy a physical copy. That's always my recommendation. But it sprang from a huge, years spanning manga that started serialized in Japan. It was brought to the United States by Marvel Comics, actually, initially. And then in 1988, a film was made. The animated film was made before the story itself ended. So the film, what you see, the end of the film, while it is a satisfying conclusion, it is really only the first third of the manga.
George R.R. Martin ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, no. And it was a huge hit in Japan. It was a huge cult hit here initially amongst people who went to science fiction conventions. Then it started seeing limited art house releases. There was a pressing, laserdisc pressing by the Criterion Film Company. Yes, I own a copy. Just a tremendous cinematic event. So, of course, consequently, American studios have been striving mightily for the last 3 decades. It came out in 88. Well, I'll be nice. I'll say about 20 years, because maybe 25 years, because it did not have enough cultural steam when it was first released in 88 to attract their attention. But around the year 2000, it started getting shopped around Hollywood. And the latest atrocity that it was slated to have inflicted on it was that it was going to be directed by Taika Waititi. And he was going to set it not in Neo Tokyo, but in Neo York. That's right, Neo Manhattan. And Kaneda, the character pictured there, and Tetsuo were going to be school rivals, and they of course would have had westernized names, and it just every detail I heard about this live action version was like getting jabbed in the eardrum with a hat pin.
To be played by Tom Holland.
Yeah, and that would have meant Zendaya would have been in there, probably playing Kaori.
He's everywhere else. Why not?
Yeah.
Except instead of suffering a rather grim fate as she did in the manga and the anime, she probably would have been a strong woman who didn't need no man. Yeah. So the thing about moving, I'm sorry, go ahead. Ian.
Oh, I was just going to say, if I know my modern Hollywood studios, they probably would have had Pedro Pascal play Kaori. With the mustache.
With the mustache.
Well, and everything else.
Yeah. So anyway, so this basically went into production hell for years and years and years. It was being kicked around about who would direct it, who would star in it, that sort of thing. Taika Waititi was apparently on the trench run to get this done, but it was not to be. It was not to be. The film has, as reported by Deadline here back on June 27th, the possibility of a live-action take of the 1988 anime movie Akira from Warner Bros. Is no longer, as Deadline has confirmed that the rights have lapsed, now reverting back to the manga publisher Kodansha. The movie, directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, and he was the artist and writer of the original, follows teenage biker gang members who turns into a rampaging psychic psychopath after a secret military project endangers Neo Tokyo. The protagonist learns he has telekinetic abilities which are dangerous to the world. His best friend is the only guy who can stop him. The Burbank, California lot has seen the movie rights since 2002 with directors like Stephen Norrington, Albert Hughes. I'm not even going to try that one. And Taika Waititi circling. Leonardo DiCaprio's Appian Way was circling at one point. And at one point, Akira had an $18.5 million California tax credit. Boardwalk Empire star Michael Pitt was even attached to the project at one point. Then Garrett Hedlund, Kristen Stewart, Helena Bonham Carter, and Ken Watanabe even kicked the tires on Akira. So it is not going to happen, and that makes me exceptionally happy. With all respect to Katsuhiro Otomo, I am glad that it's not going to happen. If it's going to see re-release, how about you just do a digital remaster of the film?
Well, you know why Leonardo DiCaprio didn't take it up. He's off the project.
Why is that?
It's been out for 27 years. It's way too old for him.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering where we were going with that.
Just a cheap joke.
Well, it more than paid for itself. And that then brings us to but Taika's not he's not taking this one lying down, because now he has moved on to be tapped to direct a Judge Dredd movie, which is about as atonal as you could possibly imagine. Because I'm sorry, I don't think of this goofball right here who said, and I quote, "I'll fuck up your fandom in a minute flat," to Marvel Comics fans, to take a tongue-in-cheek black comedy, futuristic dystopia setting, and make it work like they did with Dread a few years ago. But yes, Taika Waititi is directing yet another reboot of it. The Oscar-winning filmmaker of Jojo Rabbit, which is actually a very good film.
Yeah.
And two Thor movies has set aside on the next project. He's attached to direct Judge Dredd, a feature film about the British comic book character Drew Pearce, known for Fall Guy and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, will adapt the screenplay. The project doesn't have a studio attached and is being shopped around Hollywood. Created in 1970 by writer John Wagner and artist Carlos Ezquerra, Judge Dredd is a law enforcement and judicial officer in the dystopian metropolis of Mega City 1. It sounds to me like Waititi just grabbed onto this because he didn't get Akira.
This is like those horror movies where you have a curse, and the only way you can get rid of it is by giving it to someone else. I feel like this is the movie version.
Yeah. So
you have a Taika Waititi, and the only way you can get rid of it is giving it to another.
Yeah, just pass them on from one film project to the next.
One IP to another.
But often a satire of British and American culture, the character has bionic eyes and is empowered to serve as judge, jury, and executioner in the fascist society. He first appeared in the pages of the weekly British anthology comic 2000 AD. The character made his big screen debut in 1995's big budget flop, Judge Dredd, starring Sylvester Stallone. Oh, that movie was so bad. Oh, that movie was bad. And then in 2012's Carl Urban-led reboot Dredd, which was, as they point out, it too was a box office flop, but it was good. It was really, really good. It was absolutely unafraid. And Carl Urban was like, the helmet stays on. So anyway, yes, Waititi is going to be seeking his Waititi into Judge Dredd. No release date has been announced. I think they're aiming at 27, but again, Waititi is shopping the idea around, so who knows?
We can only hope that he will go on to, I don't know, ruin some other classic like Transformers or G.I. Joe or something like that instead.
Well, I mean, he should go back and make more What We Do in the Shadows. That's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very good at like a certain niche of movies. Unfortunately, Brother Joe, I hated Ragnarok. And the problem with Ragnarok is, while that movie in and of itself had a lot of good points, it led directly to Thor: Love and Thunder.
This was what I was going to say. Like if Ragnarok had been a standalone, but as part of the larger story, the larger arc of that character, it felt like it just slipped us into Thor as comic relief. And
and that's the problem. If you go like to Thor 1, he's like smashing the coffee mug on the floor, because he wants another and this and that. But it's a fish out of water situation, so we're not really laughing at him. We're laughing at the situation of a god being in a diner, not knowing how to get a free refill. Whereas by the time we get to Thor Ragnarok, we're laughing at him. And even if in Avengers Endgame, where he's Fat Thor, he sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the other characters. Like, I'm fine with Thor sort of having a little PTSD, but like to have gone so far back, no, he is supposed to be, his father died. He was supposed to take over leadership of the Asgardians, and that was his story arc. And he became like some teenager living in his basement, eating Hot Pockets all day. That was no good.
I mean, and he just handed it off to Tessa Thompson. By the way, Hollywood and British studios, please stop trying to make Tessa Thompson a thing. We're not buying it. No. We're not buying it. She is wooden. She is unfunny. I mean, honestly, you could have literally cut her out of Ragnarok. and the movie would have been exactly precisely the same.
Yeah. And if you don't believe it, there is, I know it's on Netflix, but there was a British production of Dracula, which I think was a 3-episode series, which Tessa Thompson played in it a lot. That Dracula was, it was as if they said, you know what point of view we've never seen in a Dracula movie? What if there was more feminism? And for some reason, it didn't seem to play as well as they had thought. And Tessa Thompson was all up in that.
I can imagine. Let me guess. Was she a strong woman who didn't need no man?
Exactly. It was all about like women not wanting to be bitten by the vampire and trying to make him feel bad because he's like treating women as less than people. It's like, yes, everyone is less than people to vampires. We're like rabbits or cattle to them.
Go read early editions of Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah, it's like blood bag, cattle. I mean, yeah, it's not a good time with vampires roaming around. Nobody wanted to be bitten by Dracula. Nobody did. Nobody.
Hello, Rabbit Wrangler and disciple of the Logos. I have to say, saying that Love and Thunder is awful but better than the Marvels is like saying that Lupus is terrible but it's better than the Black Death.
Yeah,
low bar there.
It is. A very,
it's not hard to clear that.
Very low bar. It is an exceptionally low bar, and I mean, you know, Fat Thor, ridiculous. I mean, I understand people's disdain for how Thor was portrayed in Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at it through the lens of Love and Thunder, because I personally, again, it's largely because of Led Zeppelin, but I personally still put my blinders on and watch and enjoy Thor Ragnarok, but I do cringe a little bit. And then, you know, when I watched Love and Thunder, my eyeballs want the time they spent absorbing the photons that made up the images of Love and Thunder back. They're like, you degraded us just a little bit to have that bombarding your retinas. We want that time back.
Yeah. So is there, can we all agree? Oh, well, getting back to Taika Waititi doing Judge Dredd, I think he would do a fine job if this were a sequel to the Stallone movie.
I mean, if you want to throw bad money after worse money, then yeah, I mean, okay. Because as I understand it, let me see that Danny Cannon directed that.
Well, there's a name you don't hear that often.
No. That movie made $85 million on $113 million, which is about today like making $300 million on about $750 million. You wouldn't work in film today.
There's a flushing sound.
Yeah. So I just I question whether you would want to make a sequel to a movie that bombed that bad.
Has that ever been done? To make I mean, other than like, you know, a second movie that didn't do as well as the first, and then they make a third. But like an opening movie that is terrible, but the idea is there, and so someone makes a successful second movie. Okay. I can't think of one.
Let's pause for just the Star Trek films. Let's pause for just a minute, for just a hot minute, and only talk about finances. I am only referring to finances. Blade Runner had a budget of $30 million. It made $42 million, which you're like, oh, it made a little bit of. No, it didn't.
No,
on $30 million in 1982, that would have had to have been $100 million movie to have been a smash success.
And all of the marketing and all that kind of stuff, that's not usually it's not calculated in the budget of the movie. So that's above and beyond.
And so Blade Runner 2049 or 2039 rather. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to it. Blade Runner 2049 had $150 million budget. And thank you for your completely ass layout, Wikipedia. And it made $92 million. So it did, by percentage, about the same amount of money that the original Blade Runner did. And it was, in my opinion, and I consider myself an authority on things Blade Runner, it was just as good a film as Blade Runner was. I consider them essentially one long form story. But that is an example, Padre, of a movie that bombed financially, and then
initially because later on, video sales and all that kind of stuff.
I think when you factor in VHS, when you factor in the limited 1992 10-year anniversary re-release, other private screenings, Laserdisc releases, deluxe Laserdisc releases,
the action figures, the lunch boxes, the Underoos.
I don't know about the Underoos, but I do believe we did get some kind of like McFarlane toy action figures for it. But anyway, when you factor that stuff in, Blade Runner is financially a mild success. From a fan standpoint, that movie stands over almost any other film ever made.
Yeah, it's one of the most brilliant pieces of sci-fi ever made. And that's the thing, is that I'm wondering though if there's a movie that was not only a financial bomb but critically panned, unpopular, but somehow they still made another one. And I don't know how the first Star Trek did financially, but I think it's widely accepted to be a lousy movie. Like it would have been a good half-hour episode kind of thing. Just half hour of action crammed into two.
And I think, sort of bringing it back to Judge Dredd a little bit, this is the big problem with whoever has to make another Dredd movie, is that the 2012 movie was almost a perfect movie. The story was excellent, and it was written in a way so that there were clues to what's going on, and there was foreshadowing that this would happen and that would happen. Something, it's weird, just like 3 years later, Hollywood seemed incapable of making a movie like that. Then you have fantastic acting. Carl Urban didn't go all Pedro Pascal, wanting to take his helmet off. Pretty much everyone who played the part was picture perfect, especially I'm blanking on her name. She played Mama and Cersei Lannister.
Lena Headey.
Yes. She was excellent in that movie. And again, you had sort of a yin and a yang, Dredd versus Mama. It made the movie really compelling. The visuals were great. There wasn't really a fantastic amount of CGI needed, except for the visuals of when they were getting high. And even that, like, it really illustrated, it wasn't just there for no reason or to throw in CGI. It had a story purpose. The 2012 movie was just fantastic. So whoever is going to make a sequel, unless it's that team, you're
Right.
going to be benchmarked against that. It's almost like, Gus Van Sant trying to remake Hitchcock's Psycho, or they try to remake Ben-Hur a few years ago, or if you try to remake the Ten Commandments or something, like, you just stop. No, it's good. We're good. Just stop.
Well, the number of movies you could say that about, though, that they still charged ahead and did. No, we don't need another. Oh, well, we got one anyway.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times it's about keeping rights, which sucks, but it happens. I would like to bring up one point of order that, for Underoos, for Blade Runner, how could you pass up the marketing opportunity for Repla pants?
There you go.
I hate you to death.
You get
I
get
think
three of the
Delver's
same
wearing
one
a
in the
pair now.
I
package.
despise you. I will make sure they put fugu on every rice cracker you eat when we go to Japan. Oh yeah, no, he's fine. Don't do the special prep. He's a tough guy. Pants. I had to try. Oh, that hurts. I'm only mad because I didn't think of it first, by the way.
I think Young just won the internet today.
I think he did. I think he did.
Phantom Menace was a better book.
I mentioned this over on X, but I said, with regard to Star Trek, Padre, we will accept bad Star Trek movies, because it's an episodic thing. We grew up on 90 episodes of the original Star Trek. Some of them just literally stunk up the joint. But we watched it anyway because it was 4:00. School was over, and by God, we were going to watch something and enjoy it.
The other thing, though, is when did the first one come out?
79.
Yeah, so everyone was so high that all they had to do was just throw some swirling colors on screen.
So much cocaine. So much cocaine.
Like, oh, the colors, man.
Yeah,
that's all it took at that point.
Do we have anything else to say about Taika, or
no? I'm done kicking him around for a while.
Go away.
I think we have a quick one. We have found out that our new AI overlords have once again gone full anti-Semitic, and in response, Elon Musk has given us this. New chatbots. This is what will be combating AI overreach, I guess, in the future. Gentlemen, despite the fact that we want to take over the world, is anyone happy that we've come to this? Like, we all knew it was coming, right? We all knew it was coming, but will this be good for anyone?
I don't see how it gets any better being pushed through a little cartoon. Like, is somehow, the vile things going to be acceptable when she has ponytails? Is pigtails? It's okay, but I don't know. I don't get it.
When it comes out of a cute face, maybe.
Yeah.
So the other question too is, how long until people start training this AI chatbot to be a sexual partner?
It's already well.
Yeah, I was under the impression that people had already taken her into the adult areas of Grok chat and just gone full whatever with it.
That's gonna be like 80% of the internet, right?
So, yeah. I'm gonna say this about that. Okay, I'm gonna get a little propeller head here, but so what chatbots do is chatbots have what is referred to as a parser. In the overall, they're a parser, not a parson, but a parser. And what they do is they filter contextually what you're saying through possible good sounding responses and then string those responses together. They search a database. Now, in the case of modern chatbots, their database is everything that has been loaded into them. And in the case of Meta, in the case of ChatGPT, the Twitter Lolicon, those things are all fed as much stuff as they can find in books, on the internet, so on and etc. And then it's tweaked to always lean towards the positive as far as answers, which is why you can go in and start conversing with it about Tolkien and start out at the top of the hour getting very factual things. And the further you go, without me going into a bunch of technical stuff, which I'm sure neither you guys or our audience particularly care about, it will drift and hallucinate. It will start talking about Tolkien books and titles of those books and times when they were published that don't exist. Yeah. And that's because it wants to be helpful.
It wants to give you an answer.
It wants to. It is programmed to come up with an answer for you. Now, the parsers have always worked this way. If you played Zork, if you're of a certain age and you played Zork on your Apple II or your TRS-80 in high school, the guts of those text adventure engines were essentially used an extremely, comparative to what we have today, limited parser. The program Eliza, hands up if you're old enough to remember Eliza. It was a type-in program written actually in the 1960s with the advent of the basic programming language by a gentleman, Dr. Joseph Weizenbaum. He was a psychologist. He got his hands on a computer. He taught himself BASIC and said, what if I could program a conversation interpreter? And so he wrote Eliza, and he would sit people down in front of it, other scientists, patients. And he said he was shocked by the number of people that would develop intimate, in this case, meaning very close personal feelings with what is at the end of the day like a 500 line basic program. You can go out on the web and find people running versions of Eliza. No, I'm not talking about like, everybody does chatbots. I mean, you can go find the basic code, download it and run it on a Windows PC and run Eliza and see how simple it is. So going all the way back to the 1960s, you had people believing that a chatbot wanted to be their lover, their confidant, their best friend, somebody whose digital shoulder they could cry on. So this, whether you regard it as good or bad, I'm not putting any value statement on it. This is the logical extension of something that started almost 70 years ago. So
once again, we can blame the damn hippies.
Stupid boomers! Feeding us to the robots!
It's really, though, it's what people want to see. It's what people are hoping for. It's actually almost nothing to do with the technology, and all to do with the with humanity. Just like, I mean, when the stuff gets reflected back, as you say, it's just what has been fed into it. And so the disturbing part is really, well, as Pogo would put it, we have seen the enemy and he is us. You know, and so it's like it's looking in the mirror, and it's not a good view. You know, there's a fluorescent light, and you can see everything, and he's like, ooh, I don't want to look at that anymore, because it's all coming back, right?
Well, no, but the AI would put on soft lights and a teddy and
Well, this one would
make you want to. But just as a species, well, I guess there's two questions. One is, are we heading into a realm where we are much closer to somewhere between Star Trek's, they would just yell out computer and then whatever and ask it whatever and it answers, somewhere between that and a character in the holodeck who is now like your personal computer, as opposed to like having to type things out, or will this thing follow you on your smart device that fits in your pocket and you will bring it out and it will help you out that way? Is that where we're going with it, just replacing the way we interface with computers, or is this only going to be used for almost like a drug, for people to like self-soothe with online girlfriend, boyfriend, or like if your mom didn't love you, this would make you virtual cookies and give you a hug or something?
about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of push button get dopamine, as you say, self-soothing that's going on here. I really can't apply anything as far as giving it a better or worse value. Hedonic treadmill, yeah, it's kind of like that, rabbit. But again, I feel like this is just something that was
I liked the little clippy.
Thank you, Comedy Mark.
For about 3 minutes, and then you turned him off.
But no, as far as and as far as like voice field technology, what was it, like 2008? They started the Alexa and the Google Home thing. So walking into your kitchen and saying,
you're already there.
Yeah, I mean, we're already there. So you put a flat panel display connected to it in every room, and there's your digital assistant, your Cortana, your whatever, is just standing there and smiling at you and listening to you and everything else. And that's not creepy at all.
No,
that's not even a little bit creepy. That's not
the accuracy on it is telling as well. The other day I asked for, I ended up getting the wrong name for I think it's the appropriate title is I Want My MTV, but I asked it to play Money for Nothing, and I didn't specify a band, because why should you have to?
Right.
But like, come on, cultural awareness. Alexa is dumb as a post. You're absolutely right. And I asked it to play Money for Nothing, and it turned the TV in another room. The boys were watching some video, and it changed that into a video about how to make money from home.
Nice.
So the thing is it's not always firing on all cylinders there.
Yeah.
So the real question is, have the boys become millionaires?
Well, they've got a Ferrari parked out front.
Nice.
It was only a week ago too.
Sorry, Dungeon Delver, you were about to say?
No, I just this to me comes down just to people. They're playing a new kind of a video game. Ultimately, I think this is a new kind of video game, and this is one. If we're going to talk about AI, I feel like we should invite maybe as a guest on Tim Imholt, because he does work with AI a lot in his field, but not chatbots. When people say X is done with the AI, in my opinion, the term AI is used today as badly misused as the term 3D printing was for 4 or 5 years. we've 3D printed these car parts. No, you've done powder injection, which is something that has existed for the last 100 years. You know, we 3D printed a whole house. No, you've got an automatic bricklaying machine. So no. And now with it's like, this is powered by AI. It's really not. It's literally just, it's parsing your choices at checkout and then suggesting some things. The same thing that has been going on since 1996 or so, as far as shopping on websites. So I think it's just a whole lot of it is bandwagoning. And I can say, as someone who noodles around with AI a little bit, I went to when I was writing Crom, the character record organizational manager software. There were times when I would hit the wall because I don't know, and I didn't know, and I still don't know a lot about the Python programming language. And I would go into Grok or ChatGPT and say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" "Oh, sure thing, Bill, do this." And like, I would say, "No, that doesn't have any bearing on the piece of code I just showed you." "Sorry about that, Bill, try this instead." And I would kind of get a little bit of what it was saying. Like, okay, you're not, I see the mechanism of how you're trying to accomplish what I'm asking you to do. So that's a help. But yeah, it's not, you're not just going to sit there and fold your arms and go, create a high quality 3D first person shooter using fantasy medieval assets, 7 or 8 weapons, and varying degrees of monsters that you have to fight in a semi-open world environment, and then click go. And then that's not going to happen. Okay. So I think there's a big split between somebody just saying, "Oh, that's AI." Yeah. It's the same as, "Oh, that's 3D printing." No, not really.
It's become the green or the organic, you know.
Yeah.
It's a
solar
green solution. Yeah, solar. Yeah. It's an organic food, you know.
Yeah.
Really? Are there inorganic bananas out there?
I have these organic beans. Well, it's you know, it's a can of black beans from Publix or what, you know, this is gluten free. It's a bottle of water.
Yeah. You know? Has steak ever had gluten in it? Yeah. Gluteus maximus is a rump roast, but you
know. But yes, they have given us anime loli girls on Twitter if you pay for them. So
I think that's the most offensive part, is you have to pay $32 a month to get that. I mean, to be honest, how lonely are you?
Don't ask that question. Yeah,
don't
ask that question.
No.
You open a pit of despair.
But let's say that you are lonely and you're looking for some human interaction. You might try heading up to Canada in October for Clericon.
You might try that if you were so minded. If you were so minded. Yeah, end of October, 24th through 26th, Clericon is happening again. This is the 3rd iteration of this convention, and it's going to be awesome. I've shared up just for a visual, but it would be at clericon.rsvp.com, and you can register Clericon 2025 rather .rsvp.com, and you can get yourself registered. We've got so many fun games. There's a opening, and the opening night, I had 3 games going to the opening night. A 4th game is added. It's already getting people. That's Warhammer.
Nice.
We've got Traveler, OD&D that Bandits Keep is running. We've got Shadow Dark. Someone's running a couple people on some Shadow Dark. We've got a very fun thing happening on Sunday, among other games. Fleetwood, my eldest boy, is running Call of Cthulhu, But there's also a Clayorama game being played. Tournament has been set up by Tale of the Manticore. So if you don't Clayorama, it was an article in Dragon magazine, and it's a silly sort of game. It's back in the day, and it's a silly sort of game where players make plasticine, Play-Doh figures, and then the referee, the game master, sort of assigns points to them in various skills. This one looks like he's going to be fast. This one's going to be strong, and gives them stats. And then they fight. And apparently, it ends up with a great deal of Play-Doh being flung around the place. So we're going to have to put them off in a corner by themselves, so they don't hit anybody. But there's all sorts of cool stuff happening. And need to stream Clericon. Clericon will have one room. In order to keep, there's kids who come and getting permissions to get everyone's face online, we have a separate location, enclosed space, that is the live stream studio game. And so Bandits Keep is running something in there. Hexed Press has come out with his own game. The name utterly escapes me at the moment, but Hexed Press has released his own game, and that's playing in there. And Mage's Musings is going to be running a game for the live table. So those will be streamed Saturday, Eastern time, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 8 p.m. So there's so many things. We've expanded to another site at which we've got some wargaming happening, some tactical miniature stuff. Forbidden Psalm is being played over there. It uses Morkborg as its, or Mangle Bangle, or however you actually say it, but it looks like Morkborg in English, as its engine. Gobs of stuff happening. So check it out.
Excellent. And just for clarification, is there a fee to attend Clericon?
There is a fee. A full adult pass for the whole weekend is $25, so it's not very expensive. A day pass for the Saturday, because that's when the most games are being played, $15. Kids are less. There's an opening dinner from a really good caterer. Actually, this caterer is located in Little Glen Williams, where the con is held. This tiny little village, beautiful village. But this little caterer, you think, this little small town, actually recently provided a lunch for all sorts of people going to the Pope's installation or whatever. And so guests of the Pope were being fed by this caterer, including Oprah Winfrey. So if you want to eat like Oprah Winfrey, come to Clericon.
So you could say the food is divine?
It's to die for. Yes, it's divine. It is, and the chef is infallible.
Excellent.
Very cool, Padre. Very cool. I wish I could make it up there. I am 99.99% sure I will be running a virtual table at Clericon.
Cool. Yes, there's also, that's it on the
half of it.
On the Discord server. There is room for games to be happening there as well during Clericon. Last year, Tonka Todd ran something. Young, you were going to run something, and then you had a gas leak.
Yes,
Sounded
that was
like
bad.
Vaguely dangerous. I'm glad you got out alive and everything. So you're invited to run one again this year.
We shall see. I have to. I've got one that I'd like to run, but the thing is, it's long. It's like 6 hours, which I think is a little long.
It's a long time to commit. But on the other hand, it's not like this. Yeah, anyone else needs that table. I'll just make more channels. So if anyone
that is the beauty of virtual conventions.
There you go.
All right.
Well, speaking of games, we slide back over into the digital, gentlemen, and there is something that's been going on for actually a few years now, and it is a little beyond the scope to give a full accounting, but I do want to give a fair accounting of what's been happening here, and I'm going to screen share this up real quick. So, there is a YouTuber. He's really nice. He will definitely be one of those who we will We will spare him when the time comes. But Ross Scott, all joking aside, Ross Scott launched an initiative a few years ago. Now, Ross on his YouTube channel, Accursed Farms, reviews older video games. Now, when I think of an older video game, I think of something from Microprose that came on a 5 1/4 floppy for my Commodore 64. Ross is a little bit younger, and I'm not playing an age card. I'm just saying his golden age of gaming was the 90s through the early 2000s. And something interesting and bad started happening in that time period. And it was when video game companies grew and grew and grew and grew and, got to where they could buy small planets and so on and et cetera. And they started introducing the pernicious practice of games as a service that is offering up video games that the easiest explanation I can think of is your utilities at home are utilities as a service. And if you stop paying for them, they get shut off. If your power company went out of business tomorrow, the electricity would go off. Or they could say potentially decide we're not servicing that area anymore. It's not profitable for us. Or your water company or your gas company or your grocery delivery. Basically, it's at will hiring by you. So what is happening is good video games, or at least interesting video games, are disappearing. Yeah. Thousands of hours, man hours of programming, art, QA, everything is being completely deleted by game companies because they have an always online component to them, whether it is a multiplayer factor that has to be active, even if you only want to play a single player version, or they are strictly multiplayer and a server has to be between you and your friends who want to play. And so companies are pulling the plug on games that they don't want to maintain any further
because they're not making any more money on
making any more money at it. So Ross approached now he is an expat, he is an American expat living in Poland, but he did look at the possibility of trying a Stop Killing Games initiative in the United States, and that is unfortunately a non-starter for various legal reasons I don't completely understand. And we would be here for hours, me stumbling through what this is. So, being as he lives in the EU, he approached the EU about a citizens' initiative to launch a Stop Killing Games petition. When this petition hits 1 million verified, and that's important, verified signatories, it becomes something that will be discussed in committee in European Parliament. So there is this isn't like a change.org petition in the United States, where you can just say, I have 50,000 signatures on this, Mr. Congressman, and they might write you a nice letter. They'll send you a nice form letter. So Ross launched this. Now, it immediately went up to around 450,000 signatories, and people were kind of enthusiastic about it. And then something interesting happened. There is an internet personality, a YouTuber, a streamer by the name of Jason Thor Hall. And he manipulated the algorithm on YouTube and very quickly got 2 million subscribers on YouTube, which is quite a feat. I am very much a don't hate the player, hate the game regarding that, because when he started doing it, he realized at that time, you did not have the option to select, don't show me this person's content on YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts just went out there. And because he spammed YouTube Shorts with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of YouTube Shorts, it was inevitable that there would be eyes on them. And he would say things that people kind of agreed with. He would dole out some chicken soup for the soul kind of advice. And so people were clicking subscribe, and good for him, I guess. He blew up fairly quickly. He got a Webby Streamer Award. He got some notoriety. Now, a thing that you should know about Jason Thorhall, and let's put his mug up there. Let's put his handsome face up there. Is that he is a former product tester for Blizzard Software. His dad works at Blizzard Software. And if you've ever seen the episode of South Park where they have the fat guy who plays World of Warcraft and kind of slumps back and sits off to the side, that is his dad. Matt and Trey went to Blizzard Software and said, we want to make fun of World of Warcraft. Take us through the whole process. Blizzard was over the moon because you know, they were like, no press is bad press. And they introduced him to Thor's father. And he was like, oh, please put me in the cartoon. Just skewer me as hard as you want. And they were like, you got it. And he loved his portrayal in there. That's Thor's dad. Now, Thor will say at every turn that he worked for Blizzard for a number of years. And then he alleges he did security QA for the federal government and so on and et cetera. He makes much of the things he does. And I mean, hey, I'm a guy who will tell you in a heartbeat, I worked for Gary Gygax. I will tell you, you know, I'm going up to EggCon as a guest, you know, it's all good. But as a developer and as a guy who worked on games that were being offered as a service, World of Warcraft, people brought up the Stop Killing Games petition to him, and he blew a head gasket. He said some things that I won't repeat here about Stop Killing Games. He called Ross a used car salesman and said he would actively fight to make sure that Stop Killing Games didn't get any traction. And when he listed all the reasons why, every reason he listed was wrong. Every interpretation of Stop Killing Games that he made was wrong. It's like if somebody came to me and said, hey, give me 3 reasons why you think Dungeons and Dragons is a great game. And it's like, well, there's lots of classes. You know, you can play a bunch of races, and hit points are a good thing. And you said, look, okay, first of all, nobody wants to take a class to play D&D, so that's stupid. And what, you want people to race? You want people to get up and run around until they're hot and sweaty? How is that any fun? Oh, and hitting people for points? That's stupid. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure nobody nobody plays D&D ever.
Can I play that game? I want to play that game.
You want to play? Yeah. Get your
racing, hitting game. Yeah.
Racing, hitting, and taking classes. So that was his interpretation of SKG. And Ross Scott did what any rational person on the internet would do. He tore into Jason and went on a 9-month tirade to destroy him, except that's not at all what he did. Ross didn't address it at all. Ross saw the sign up fall off to nothing, and he figured that the whole thing was cooked. It wasn't going to hit 1 million. He was very down about it. And back at the beginning of July, actually it was June, it was late June, he said, look, this is up to just under 500,000 signatories. It ends at the end of July. I did my best. It's over. It's not going to happen. We're not going to convince the EU to go to video game companies and try and get some legislation passed where if you've paid for a game, if you've bought a game, if you've spent 50, 60, 70, 80 euros, that is now your property, is just not going to happen. And I'm sorry. And in the middle of that video, he said, look, people have been after me to talk about Jason Thorhall here. And so I'm going to address his stuff point by point. And everything that Pirate Software said, he refuted. He said, here's why you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. And at the time, 11 months ago, when Pirate Software went on this rant, Ross approached him and said, hey, please, let's talk. I think you've gotten some salient points wrong. Let's talk. And Mr. Hall was completely not interested in talking to him rationally about it. And he on the overall, he was pretty nasty. So Ross released the video and said, that's it. That's the end of Stop Killing Games. I did my best. I tried to save you guys money. That caught fire. And people started to sign the petition. They started to sign the petition like there was no tomorrow. Because big YouTubers started talking about this. And as of today, as of Saturday, July 19th, that petition is now at just under 1.4 million signatories. So he has been dragged on social media, not just because of Stop Killing Games and him trying to stop Killing Games, but for a number of reasons, because people are going back and looking at some of his other kind of antisocial behavior. But yeah, he came in and decided to be the heel on the thing and did the exact opposite of what he wanted to do. He wanted to stop Killing Games, and instead he caused it to blow up. So if we have any of our minions out there who are in the EU, please, if you haven't, go sign this petition, stopkillinggames.com, and stand up for the ownership of your software, because companies like Ubisoft have simply switched off games. I have some Far Cry games, and Far Cry 3, for example, has segments of it that they're not essential to completing the game story, but they are story-centric, that I can no longer play because they shut off the servers. This won't make companies turn features like that back on, but in the future, they won't be able to do things like that. They'll have to hand to the users some method of setting up their own servers, or some method of keeping these games in a functional state. And functional meaning playable, not like, look, you can launch the start screen. You can play the tutorial where you run around and walk through inert targets. No. Stop Killing Games will have software companies provide a method. And one of Pirate Software's biggest fake complaints about that was, oh, you want to make all multiplayer games single player. That's dumb. That's not what this does at all. And the idea that it's not feasible, classic World of Warcraft, EverQuest, Ultima Online, those are all games that people have, without the company's permission or say so, have reverse engineered servers and have private servers set up and going. Yep. NC Soft, the company that makes City of Heroes, a superhero MMO, basically they put City of Heroes into maintenance mode and just said, go ahead, play. We don't care. We're not going to update it. We're not going to fix anything, but go ahead and play it. So companies have done it. It's doable. Ross was backing it. And this guy, who my personal opinion is that Jason Hall is a douchebag. So this douchebag did all he could to try and stop it, but it looks like it's going to succeed. And I will say this, Jason Thorhall, he was the bigger man, and he came out and he said, okay, you know what? Looking at it, Ross was right. I was wrong. And I'm just kidding you guys. He has quadrupled down and is still ranting and raving about this, bans anyone from his Twitch streams, bans people from his Discord, and blocks people on social media if they say anything positive about this or tell him, looks like you were wrong, champ. So that is that is that video game rant done. So stopkillinggames.com, go out and sign that initiative if you are so inclined. And in the EU, guys, let me stress to my American cousins or anyone else who's not part of the EU, don't create a fake signature for this. You will do harm to it.
We're not, well, we wouldn't be, verifiable. We wouldn't be a legit signature.
So don't go out there and find a website, how to spoof EU citizenship to sign online petition. Don't do that. Okay?
If I could spoof, citizenship in a European country, it wouldn't be to sign petitions.
Not a video game petition.
Packing bags. I'd be moving.
Yeah. I have one more video game related rant if you gents want to get into it.
Sure.
Let me share another screen here. All this time, I thought you'd left my clip up, and I was like moving the mouse over Thor's face and pointing at things.
Sorry.
Thanks, Yang. All right. So this is a bad video game thing that's just happened. Essentially, there is a modern day equivalent of Bothered About Dungeons and Dragons group that has lobbied payment processors to no longer allow people to pay for adult content in video games, and other things, with online transactions. So basically, if you have a store and you have a video game that maybe features TNA, gratuitous violence like that, well, they want you to stop. That's a no-no. Shame on you. Shame on you for wanting that kind of thing. And Valve Software, arguably the largest video game store in the online sense that's out there, Valve Software has bent the knee to payment processors. So Steam now bans games that violates the rules and standards of payment processors and banks. So, if you're if you make a video game, Cutie Bikini Bunny, and that's your that's your jam, and you want people to pay for it, well, guess what? Valve is going to ban that game if it does not live up to the strict moral standards of Visa and MasterCard. Because if Visa and MasterCard thinks that it don't live up to the strict moral standards of this lobbying agency that is leaning hard against them. Now, you might think, okay, well, they're keeping pornographic games off of Steam. That's a good thing. They've already talked about lobbying to get Detroit Become Human demonetized, debanked, as they say, because it features violence against young women. The whole point of Detroit Become Human is that you are a police officer trying to prevent that kind of thing. That's not part and parcel of the game. You don't get rewarded for that behavior. It is an unpleasant part of the story, but it takes place within the context of the story. Now, they have not been able to lean on the studio or on Valve to get that game taken down, but I personally think this is a dangerous, slippery slope of financial companies just deciding how you're going to spend your money. I mean, if they're going to do this, are they just going to decide that I shouldn't have a beer? Is this like some modern? That's how the temperance movement started in the United States. They literally, a bunch of lobbyists went to Washington and said, "Stop people from having a beer. We think it's bad."
Well, and the idea of debanking people, it's one thing to say it's bad enough to say you can't spend your money on this, but it begins to actually affect people's livelihoods when it says you cannot make money this way. And it's obviously there are categories of stuff that in society we take off the table. I mean, drug dealing and whatnot. But you can do a murder for hire. Obviously that's off the table. But the further that encroaches, the further that leaves the realm of what you do and enters the realm of what you think. You start to move into a more and more totalitarian sort of, well, we're going to engineer not just your behavior, but your thoughts, right? It's dicey.
And I'd like to point out that this is not new. This, at least in the US, has been going on big time since the Obama administration, when they started Operation Choke Point. And Operation Choke Point was their attempt to put political pressure on both credit card processing companies and banks to discourage business that is legal but undesirable. And they were focusing mostly on four kinds of business at that time. Number one was marijuana dispensaries, which in some states were legal and others weren't. So that one is perhaps a little bit legitimate. The second one was strippers, because it's mostly a cash business and they wanted to discourage that. The third was pornography. And the fourth was firearms sales. So those last three, while some people may consider them distasteful, they are perfectly legal businesses here in the US. There was probably about 5 years ago some attempts within Congress to pass a bill that would force political neutrality on the credit card processors and banks, which would make them say, as long as these people are conducting legal businesses, you must do business with them. So not too long after Operation Choke Point, we start seeing cancel culture pop up, and you would start having, there have been a number of people writing political blogs who were basically debanked. They had never said anything illegal, at least in the US, but these banks were bombarded by people who would call them and like, oh, do you know what so-and-so said? Are you happy that your bank is doing business with them? Do you support them? And they would get debanked. And this is just another version of it, except now with Steam. And the big problem is that, we do so much commerce online as opposed to in cash, that this is really a choke point for culture. And if anything, things are looking worse with digital currencies. At least now there's there can be some anonymity if you are paying cash, or maybe if you're using a crypto. But, once everything you buy is online, it's very easy for governments to be pressured to not allow this or not allow that, or how much until they start giving you like a sugar allowance. Like, oh, you spent too much money on sugary things. No pumpkin spice latte for you, Dungeon Minister. That's
you
where
don't
we're
step
headed.
between me and the pumpkin spice. I will come for you. The thing is, I mean, in this case, it's sort of, well, we don't want to be involved in but it is of a mindset that is designed to mold, to shape, to engineer people. And you say, okay, well, this person's not allowed to do any banking. We're going to close your account. You can't do any banking. Well, then how much of a step is it to, well, we're going to cut off the electricity at your house because we don't like what you're using it for. we're not going to service water to your house anymore. We're not picking up your trash. You know, I mean, especially when there's a governmental arm in it.
Yeah.
It starts to go down a path of we have all the levers, and part of the big problem with the internet commerce is that there are so few portals, right? And they buy each other up. I mean, how many different pay sites has PayPal purchased and just closed and folded into itself? How many different video services have tried to make a foothold in the industry, and YouTube is just so much bigger. There's just no. Why would I release on this thing that has 500,000 subscribers?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, people that think that, look, they're just going after prurient stuff. They got borderline underage anime girls in these video games, and that's what you're opposed to. And frankly, if you like that kind of thing, you're sick. Today, tomorrow, wait a minute. You tried to tithe to Dungeon Minister's church. Did you hear his sermon last week from the book of Leviticus? I don't know. I'm sorry, transaction refused.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing. It's always with these things, we like it for this situation, but do you comprehend the tool you're handing to people? And I always think it's funny when one government puts in some law that makes them very, very powerful, and of course the next government gets in and they're, oh wow, this is terrible. We can't have this going on. Isn't it what you guys?
Yeah, the people who screamed about the Patriot Act here in the United States were very silent every time it would come up for renewal during the Obama administration.
Yes. So when you
and he would just sign it and add a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
The other thing about it is that it's okay. It's purient content, and all right. And you object to that. Okay, how about as a society we actually address that rather than going after the producers of it, because there will always be another producer of it. There's always a way to access objectionable things. You ban guns, knife crime, swords. I mean, it's a reality. People, how about we go toward the root of why, as a society, have we generated a huge proportion of men seeking images of underage girls online? Why, as a society, are we doing that? Like, that's the priest talking. Maybe we should address this machinery rather than that machinery.
And sorry, I was just going to point out that, and we have to remember, it was only 5 years ago when they were telling us if you don't have a certain medical procedure, you can't go shopping.
Don't give these people any more power. And it is heartbreaking that it is Valve. Valve were the ones who, it's like the Obi-Wan thing. You were the ones who were supposed to bring balance. If Valve had said, look, Visa, MasterCard, we hear you. We're going to go to these people and say, look, folks are not going to buy your game from us using these methods. You're not going to, like, when you upload to Steam, I don't know what the process of setting up a page on Steam to digitally sell something is, but if they had gone to them and said, you're not going to have the option to add a Visa or MasterCard or PayPal button, but Bitcoin is still there, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Visa, it's not fine, but for Valve to just say, I'm sorry, Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal said you were bad, so we're turning you off.
Right.
I mean, if I sold Crom on Steam and then woke up one day and Valve was like, yeah, look, Wizards of the Coast doesn't want first edition stuff promoted.
Yeah.
So they object to your content. So we switched off your income stream. I would just I'd be like, wait, what? You know. So I guess I hate this, and this is awful, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, we began on such a happy note.
Yeah, I know. It's the it's the yin to our starting point. You know, it's our starting point's yay.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Well, we'll just have to seize control of these people and make them bend the knee first when we
should have
take
the
over
power.
the planet.
Yes.
Exactly. That should be in our wheelhouse, not theirs.
No.
And for any non-members of the Nerd Council of Doom who happen to be watching, this is why we always recommend getting your own tropical volcanic island. You can avoid a lot of these problems.
Not that we have one. Not that we have one.
No.
No. We're all in different places in the world. That's crazy talk, Yang. We don't have nuclear weapons of our own.
That would be silly.
Well, I don't have anything else, which is probably very good for our audience, gentlemen.
I got nothing.
Yes, I think it is time we adjourn this week's meeting. And next month, we will convene once again.
Yes, I will report back on EggCon and the fun that I had there. Recruiting. I'm attempting to recruit minions, so I'll be at EggCon doing that next week, actually.
Very good.
Excellent.
Report back on that.
Well, Godspeed.
Good day, everyone. On your way out, don't forget to like and subscribe to @The Nerd Council of Doom over on YouTube. And we also have a Twitter account @The Nerd Council of Doom. Good evening, everyone.
Good night.
Take care.